All right, so because I know some of you are struggling with some of these formulas, I thought I'd make a video for this project as well. This is Module 3 SAM Project 1A. I've already downloaded it and did the save as. I'm going to jump right in and start with step number 1. I'm going to skip the explanation and jump right to the second paragraph on step number 1. Switch to the sales projections worksheet. Use the value in the ranges B6 to C6 to extend the incremental percentages to the range D6 to H6. So we're going to switch to sales projections if you're not already there. We're going to use the values in range B6. So there they are, B6 and C6, to extend the incremental percentages over to H6. And just like we saw in the previous video, when you highlight a series like that and pull it over, it automatically can fill in. It can continue on in that pattern. In step number 2, we're to use the values in the range A7 to A8 to extend the list of years in the range A9 to A9 to A11. So again, we're highlighting the 2 years, using the autofill handle and going down to A11, and the years automatically fill in. Step number 3, use autofill to fill the range A9 to H11 with the formatting from range A7 to H8. So if we do A9 to we want the fill from A7 to H8 to fill down to A9 to H11. We do this, and then we can click on the options. Okay, let me do that again. So you want to select the data that they're talking about here first, A7 to A8, A7 to H8. Then we're going to use the autofill handle, and I know we're not really copying just these numbers down, but we're going to use the autofill handle, and then you'll have these autofill options, because what it wants is formatting. So I can fill formatting only. It gets rid of the values, and now I've got that same format filled down to these cells. In cell B8, we're going to create a formula using a function that multiplies the value in cell B7 by the value in cell B6 and then adds the value in B7. In this formula, use mixed reference for cell B6 by including the absolute reference in row 6. Copy the formula from cell B8 to B9 through B11, and then copy the formulas from the range B8, B11 to C8 and C11. Okay, so we're going to start with this cell here, and we want to do equals B6, right? And we're using a mixed cell reference. So to do a mixed cell reference, we want to keep the row only is what we're looking at here. So I'll hit F4. That puts it on the column and the row number. We want to hit it again, and it'll change it to just the row number. All right, then we're going to multiply that by B7 and add B7. Now, I shouldn't need parentheses around B6 through B7 because in the order of operations that will happen first, but you can add that. And I'll hit OK, or I'll hit enter to confirm, or control enter is actually more beneficial because it'll confirm the entry but leave you in that cell. Then I'm going to copy this from B8 down to B11. And then I'm going to take these and copy. So you have to go, you can't pull this one down and across. What you have to do is pull down first, then grab the autofill handle again and pull across. Okay, so if we were to look at this last formula, it's H6 times H10 plus H10. Okay, so I can do that again if you like. So you can see the formula here. you're going to pull the autofill handle down and then let go. Then grab the autofill handle again and pull across and let go. And that does all of those formulas. So I love how Excel can do formulas so quickly. Now I'm going to show the formulas on this because this page is now done. I'm going to show formulas. You can pause the page at this point. All I do to show formulas is go to formulas, show formulas. It shows me the formulas rather than the data in those cells. You can pause the video at this point and check yours against what I have, so that you know if you have everything on here correctly. All right, I'll turn off show formulas and move on to step 5. On step 5, we're to switch to the cost estimates worksheet. In cell A9, we're going to create a formula using the average function. So average is going to be, again, I'm on the formulas bar. If I go under AutoSum, because it's the most commonly used one, you'll find average there. It's also under more functions and statistical. Right, so we're using the average function that calculates the average of the values in A5 to A7. So it's already picked most of that. It went all the way to A8. A8 is actually empty, so if I make the selection again, I can fix that, or I can manually type that in, and that is the average we want there. The max and the min are going to be very similar. That's step 6 and 7. So if I go to AutoSum, this one's going to be the maximum. And I want the same range of cells, A6 to A5, excuse me, to A7. And then on the max, or the min, excuse me, again, A5 to A7. And there's our average, maximum, and minimum. In cell B13, we are going to create a function using VLOOKUP. So that's going to be under lookup and reference. There's VLOOKUP that looks up the value from cell A11. So that's our lookup value, A11. That goes here. And we're looking that up in the table array or the range A5 to B7. Okay, so that goes there, and we're returning the value in column number 2. Now we want an exact match, and if you click right here in range lookup, the range lookup definition tells you what would be an exact match and what would be closest. So if you're looking for closest match, you're going to put the word true here. If you're looking for exact match, you're going to put false. All right, because it does say we want an exact match. All right, so there's that formula, and then we're asked to copy that formula to cell E13. So I'm going to copy and paste. Now we get an NA there, and that's because we have not done the formulas, and I might be reading right over it. Oh yes, we were, as we did the average, minimum, maximum, and minimum here, we were supposed to copy over here, and I didn't do that yet, but that's okay, because now I can take all those, copy them, paste them, and it automatically repairs that program that was, that formula that was showing an NA. So pretty easy to make that fix. And all I'm doing is keyboard shortcuts to copy and paste. You can right click and copy and paste as well. You saw me do them all as a group, but you can do them individually. And if I show formulas, you can pause the video here and compare your screen to mine to see if you have the formulas as they should be. All right, I'll turn off show formulas, and we're now moving to the profit projections worksheet. So in cell H5, we're to use the today function to insert the current date. So H5, we're going to go date and time, and we're using the today function. The nice thing about the today function, every time you open up the spreadsheet, that function will update with the current date. So if I were to open this tomorrow, it'll read 9/22/2021. right? In cell H7, we're to create a formula that uses net work days function to calculate the number of working days between the dates in cell H5 and H6. So this is an H7, right? And we want network days. And we are looking at the dates between H5 and H6. Now it says specifically to leave the holidays argument blank, so we're not going to put anything there. We'll click OK, and there's the working days in between those two dates listed. Step number 11, we're to use the values in the range B12 to C12 to extend the incremental percentages across to H12. So I'm going to highlight those two. I'm going to use my fill handle and pull across to H12. We're going to use the values in range A13 to B14 to extend the years. So this is a lot like what we were doing on the sales projections worksheet. In cell B13, we're going to create a formula without a function using absolute references that subtracts the values of B5 and B7 from B6 and then multiplies the result of the cell by B8. So we want to take, so I'm going to start with the equal sign, and we're going to do B6, and that's going to be an absolute reference, and we're going to subtract that from, or subtract B5, absolute reference, and subtract B7, absolute reference, and we're going to multiply that by B8, absolute reference. Okay, so if I confirm that, Control Enter is nice because it confirms this formula, but it leaves me in the cell. I could then use the autofill handle to pull that information down and then pull it across. So you fill down first and then across. I did something wrong here. No, this one is not supposed to be filled down. This one's being filled across. So we're copying the formula from cell B13 to H13. So this one just gets filled across. The next one's going to be different. So if we move down to the next one, in cell B14, we're creating a formula without using a function that adds 1 to the value in cell B12 and then multiplies the result by B13. So this is the one we'll create, then fill down and across. So I apologize for making that mistake. We'll do the equal sign and then 1 plus B12, and this is where we need to use mixed cell references like we did in the sales projections worksheet. So I'm going to hit F4 and F4 again. That should have been B12 though. I messed that up. F4, F4 again. See, when you make a mistake and you click on the wrong cell, you can just click again and it'll change the value. Right, so we've got that to B12, and we're going to multiply that by B13. Right, I'll Control Enter to confirm. Now I'll fill down and then let go and then grab the autofill handle again and fill across, and we should have complete formulas at that point. We are asked to delete row 19. It's got a label in there that says table to be completed, so we're going to get rid of that entire row. I'm going to right click on the row number and select delete to delete the entire row. Now I'll show the formulas on that so that you can see what the finished product should look like. Let me decrease this so we can see if we could get this all on one screen. There we go. That is what your formulas should look like for profit projections. You can pause this video at this point to check your spreadsheet against mine. I hope this helps you walk through this spreadsheet. If you have any questions, please feel free to let me know. Thanks.